Goblins,
royal speaking cats,
demon llamas.
lend us your ears. And that is not something we say every day.
Not at all.
And a huge thank you to all of our Patreons.
Thank you to the Pit Fighters, the First Swords, and all of the Bright Stars, Truth and Courage.
Hello and welcome to the channel today. I'm Will, this is my brother Ed, and we're here to talk about one of the most random books we've ever read. It is Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Even the name alone is totally just eclectic.
Random, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
And obviously there's been a lot of chat about this book lately. Yeah. Those such as Tutor Ramble have adored this. Yeah. And so
Matt's
we thought...
fancy reviews.
Exactly, yeah. And we thought, you know what? We need to dive in. We're missing out.
Yeah.
And this was just a whirlwind of fun, wasn't it? But... we'll go into about what it's about and what drew us to it. But whilst it's a whirlwind of fun, I just want to say that what has made us want to do a review as well is that there are heartfelt moments as well. It was more than we were expecting. Yes. And so, Ed, do you want to talk about a very quick snippet of what the premise is?
So basically, aliens have come, Earth has been destroyed, essentially. The apocalypse has happened and it has been televised in the form of a Hunger Games-ish style of game where... imagine Hunger Games meets Diablo, I think, where you have to basically go through dungeons. There are lots of levels of dungeons, 18, and you have to go through them all to survive. And it is pretty much the closest thing we'll read to a game.
Yeah, so it is leveling up fantasy, which, if you haven't heard of that, it's about kind of following that video game archetype where you level up as time goes on. Yeah. And it kind of follows that same style as Cradle by Will White, and it's becoming more popular as a subgenre. And so you kind of follow that, and whilst these people are fighting for survival, if they manage to survive or beat other creatures that are more powerful than them, they level up and they get more powerful.
They get patrons, they get sponsors, they get drop boxes, they get animal companions. It's D&D meets Diablo meets just everything that is crazy.
So it is absolutely mental. So we've got a main character, Carl, who is actually, he's a really good central character, isn't he?
Carl a really hard name to say. Carl.
Yeah.
I think Americans find it easier. Carl.
Yeah.
Carl.
But anyway, we've got Carl, and then we've got his cat, Princess Donut.
His ex-girlfriend's cat.
His ex-girlfriend's cat, who is somehow with when this kind of apocalyptic event happens, is just with him, and he feels bad leaving the cat behind. So he looks after it. It's called Princess Donut. And then, maybe, she becomes able to speak.
Listen, I am not a cat person.
No.
But the fact that Matt Dinniman has given me a cat that I would die for, I would do anything for Princess Donut.
She is fantastic.
She is hilarious. And I love her so much. And I wish all cats were like Princess Donut.
And that leads me on to a big point about Dungeon Crawler Carl. I thought with how crazy it was, the first half I was really enjoying, loving it. There's different breadcrumbs of just other mental things happening. And I thought, I'm really enjoying this, but I imagine the novelty will wear off after a while. And you know what? It'll be fun, but it might just kind of go downhill.
Because it's a big series.
I was going to say, I think there's 6 books out, and I was thinking, could I read 6 books of this, even though I'm really enjoying it now? But Matt Dinniman does an exceptional job of making sure not to go too extreme, even though it is so over the top.
Yeah.
He managed to leave so much to discover about the world and how you play the game and how you might survive and the characters and cast around it. So that even though you've got llamas spitting lava early on, you have got so much more to look forward to. It is truly exceptional how Matt Dinniman keeps you engaged and immersed in this story. And I cannot wait to dive into book 2.
But I've read book 2.
Have you?
It's really good.
Is it as good as book 1?
Not, I would say not quite, because it takes it in quite a random direction that you would not expect to be in a dungeon.
Yeah.
But you can tell that it's gearing up for better things.
I was going to say, I think
it's found its feet.
I think most people say book 3 or 4 is like the best so far, and I think there's only 5 out and the 6th is coming out.
So I've got to say, Jeff Hayes, the narrator, is one of the best performers. He's not a narrator, he's a performer. And every voice, like the aliens, the goblins, every single person, every creature is delivered to perfection. And it really is a performance. Like Carl, when he is stressed, Jeff Hayes is screaming his lungs out in panic, and it feels like we're listening to like a program or something. It's just so good.
I was going to say there's sound effects, audio effects, changes of voices, so that this is not just about listening to a book. The company that have produced this have made it a performance to listen to and to indulge in and be immersed in. It is wonderful just to listen to. If you're an audiobook fan, dive into this. And if you're not, I think this would be a great place to start, because it is very accessible. It's very easy to understand what's going on, and because of that performance aspect, I think it just adds that extra ability to keep hooked. It really it throws that hook out. I was going to say I've never been fishing before, but the hook out,
the line throws the line out, and then it hits you by the mouth,
and then it drags you in.
It punctures your cheek, and then you carry it, and then you put it back into the river, and you say goodbye. Sorry, is that what you're saying?
Well, you got pretty graphic with it, but that's kind of what I was going for.
Or you take home and eat it, but we're not going to be eaten. But it's the performance by Jeff Hayes is absolutely incredible. Matt Dinniman did such a good job with his writing; like you never feel lost at all. Do you?
No.
I mean, it would be easy, I imagine.
Well, you do feel lost a bit, because where you're meant
with
to.
the character, exactly. Yeah. And Mordecai is another favorite character. Yeah. He's kind of like the old trainer kind of guy who takes you through the tutorial, really, of the game. And, book 1 is really the tutorial of the dungeon, and then you kind of get used to it as you go along. And in book 2, it takes you somewhere completely different, but it's absolutely brilliant.
But I love that there's also, we've talked about the mental aspect of Dungeon Crawler, Carl, but it feels quite heartfelt as well. Of course, you've got characters that have been just torn from the world.
Yeah.
And so you really feel how they're grappling with these emotions, fight, flight, or freeze. And you have to fight to survive in this place. And you really see in the slower moments that Matt Dinniman allows, this reflection, retrospection, as these characters are just hit with what is actually occurring and their inability.
And I love the way seeing them all deal with it like differently. Like there are people who flock together.
Feels very human.
I love the Valkyrie women who are all flocking together as well from Scandinavia. That's all. They're from Iceland, aren't they? But just seeing how everyone deals with it differently, and then you see how Carl and Princess Donut deal with it, and they deal with their new powers. They deal with leveling up. They then choose their classes and stuff like that. And it's just great. And it is an explosive book. I'll say that much.
So there we go. That is our review of Dungeon Crawler, Carl. A whirlwind of fun, but with more hidden depth than a lot of people have been saying as well. I think it's important to highlight that as well as the fun.
How many stars did you give it, Will?
I'd say 4.5 out of 5.
I gave it 5 because I did not expect to love it that much, and it was a constant surprise. Much like the characters are being surprised at every corner they went round in the dungeon. But mine was like a happy surprise. Theirs was like a running for their lives surprise. But
enjoyable for us.
Brilliant. And the twists as well were fantastic. And as Will said, you do have an emotional connection to these characters as well, which is, in the madness of it all, must be pretty hard to write that into it. So, fair play to Matt Dinniman. Great job. And hopefully, like the Broken Binding or something, we'll pick up a special edition.
Hopefully.
That would be pretty cool, because I'd love to have that on the shelf.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoy Dungeon Crawler, Carl. Listen to it.
Let us know if you have already.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Truth and Courage, the Brothers Gwyn.
Truth and Courage, the Brothers Gwyn.